Okay, so now we're going to move on to the aspects of your chart that come from your birth date. And the most significant number that comes from your birth date, and actually the most important number in your chart overall, is called the life path number. And we get that by taking each of the digits in your birth month, day, and year and adding them all up and then reducing them to either a single digit or a master number. So a single digit would be any number between 1 and 9. A master number, there are 2 master numbers in numerology, 11 and 22. If you want to know more about that part of things, about master numbers and about how to come up with the life path number, you can easily find it online. You can also take a look at how I calculated your number in particular in the calculation sheet that I sent you. But your life path number is the number 11, and of course I'm going to get into details about that in a moment. But first I just want to explain exactly what the life path is. The life path, I think we can say, is sort of like your life purpose. It's the reason why you're here. It's the lesson that you've come here to work on, to and hopefully to master, although that's not always the case, and you're not a failure if you don't master the lesson over the course of a lifetime, but you're meant to work on this particular lesson that's represented by your life path number. It also gives us a sense of what your role is and what you're meant to do while you're here. I said before that the numbers that come from your birth date are more representative of kind of energies that are external to you. And in this case, what I think it is that, the universe is going to present you with experiences and opportunities and challenges are going to come up with the goal of kind of forcing you to come face to face with whatever your life path lesson is. Okay, so your life path is an 11. And in numerology, there are these 2 numbers, like I said, that are called master numbers, 11 and 22, and they carry some extra weight to them. They carry some extra spiritual significance to them. So your life path number is a very spiritual number. When we look at a life path number, the lower the number, typically the easier the lesson. The higher the number, the more difficult the lesson. And so you are the second to highest number. The only number that's higher than you is a 22. So you've selected a very difficult lesson to master. And that's because it's really, it's a 2-part lesson. Basically, the 11 is meant to spend like probably the earlier part of their lives figuring themselves out, kind of figuring out their own spiritual path and figuring out a way to connect to spirit. And then once they have sort of achieved that spiritual awareness, their purpose is to then share that with other people and to illuminate the path for other people. You're the spiritual teacher, the inspirational teacher. You're meant to be an inspiration to other people. You're really meant to use your life as a model for other people to show them how they too can find a deeper connection. And so again, that's not that easy. It's a 2-part thing. And a lot of times when people are presented with a master number as their life path number, they tend to actually revert to the lower vibration of that number, which is that number reduced to a single digit. So an 11 reduced to a single digit would be 1 + 1, which is 2. And the 2 life path goes back to relationships and your soul urge number. And because your soul urge number is your greatest desire, it speaks to what you want most in the world, which is, these intimate connections. I think for you, it could be very tempting to kind of fall back on that number and to focus more of your energy on your relationships than on your own personal development. So I think that would be a challenge for you in terms of achieving your life purpose number. When we look at the life path or life purpose, we also like to look at the individual elements of your birthday, so the month number, the day number, and the year number, and see kind of how they may influence the overall life path number. And you have several 11s in your birth date numbers. You have an 11 in terms of your birth month, November, and your birthday is the 29th, which is also an 11. And then your life path number, when we add in the year, is an 11. And what that does when when one number starts showing up a lot in one area of your chart, it's overemphasized and some of the negative aspects of that number can kind of come out. And so because the 11 carries such like a heavy lesson with it, or such a significant responsibility that comes along with it, a lot of times people with too much of the 11 energy in their chart tend to have a lot of like anxiety and can be very highly sensitive, and have a hard time like focusing, and can just be like overly tuned in to kind of the undercurrents of what's going on with other people, and can have a hard time kind of filtering that out, and can just kind of always have like a nervous tension to them. So that's just something to look out for, because you do have so much 11 energy in that part of your chart. Okay, so the next most significant element of the birth date is your actual birthday. Numerologists place a lot of significance on that, a lot of weight on that. In your case, your birthday number is a 29, which when we reduce that down, we add 9 plus 2, we get an 11. So your birthday number is the same as your life path number. And the birthday number typically represents like a sub lesson that that you're meant to learn as part of your life path, but in your case, they're actually the same. And I think it sort of just reemphasizes the importance of you being a teacher, of being a role model, that you're meant to help empower other people to reach their highest potential, that really truly is the role that you are meant to play over the course of this lifetime. You are the inspirational teacher. What it also does, like I mentioned, is it does also bring out a little bit of the negative attributes of the 11 when there's an overemphasis of a number here, and when you have the same life path number as birth date number, sometimes it brings out some negative qualities, and like I said, it adds a little bit of anxious tension to the energy around you, and almost like I would feel like you would have a sense of like the importance of what you're meant to achieve while you're here, but maybe not knowing exactly what that is. So there would always just be this nervousness around you, like you know that you have to do something, but not being sure exactly what it is that you're here to achieve. So another thing that I like to look at then is once we look at the life path and the birthday numbers, because they really tell us about your lesson and what you're here to achieve. I like to compare that to the expression number, because the expression number really speaks to your capacity. It's what innate abilities, like I said, do you bring to the table? What do you have? What tools do you have to work with? And I like to compare those tools to the actual lesson that you're here to master. And in your case, they're a very good match. With an 8 expression number, like I said before, you have a lot of gifts and talents, and just a lot of resources at the table. And so you can really use them to achieve your 11 life path. The only potential downfall I would see to that is because you are so capable of doing things yourself. And like I talked about before, that sometimes one of the challenges to the 8 expression is like you do things so well that it's hard for you to open up and let somebody else step in and take care of things. And I think that part of achieving the 11 life path is not doing things for other people, not enabling other people, but showing them how to do something, and then allowing them to come in and empowering them to come in and do it themselves. So I think that would just be a challenge. I think it's something that you would be capable of overcoming, although with that soul urge of a 2 that we talked about, where you really value harmony and peace with other people, and don't like conflict and don't like things to be uncomfortable, I do see the potential for being a little bit of an enabler. So I think that would be something that you would have to really look out for, because that would really be a hindrance in terms of you achieving your life path objective. And then when we're looking at all of the elements of your chart, one other thing that I like to look at is called the maturity number. And that is actually a number that we get by adding together the expression number and the life path number. And this is almost like an extra focus or an extra lesson if you want to call it that, but just kind of a sub focus for your life path that you would encounter later in life, like age 45 and on. And since that's around where you are, it's something that you should be noticing already. And so when we take a look at your maturity number, we have the 8 and the 11, which actually reduces to a 1. We get the 19, which becomes a 10, which becomes a 1. And so one of the energies that you'll be working with and focusing on more later in life is kind of doing your own thing. I think a big part of your focus in your younger years is going to be on relationships and on other people, on doing things for other people. And I think a sub focus for you as you get older is going to be on establishing your independence, on doing things yourself. And I think that will be beneficial to you in terms of achieving your life path, because by doing things yourself and for yourself, and by making self-care a priority, you will show, or you'll demonstrate to other people how to do that for themselves. And again, rather than enabling others and doing things for them, the whole idea for you in terms of your life path is to show them how to do it for themselves. And the best way to do that is by taking care of yourself. So I feel like that's a sub lesson or a sub focus for you in your older years or in your later years. So take some time to, digest what I've gone over. And as you know, as part of the reading, we have an email follow-up. So think about any questions that you have for me, any details that you want me to clarify, or areas that you want me to go into more detail with, and type me up an email and send that over to me, and I will give you any clarification that I can provide. But I hope you've enjoyed the reading. I've certainly enjoyed sharing it with you, and I look forward to your questions. Thanks.